In June 2016, I conducted an experiment. I traveled for 21 days with absolutely no money. From Germany to Hungary, here was the challenge. 1,000 kilometers, 21 days, 5 countries, 6 different cities, €0. And to toughen up the challenge a bit, I committed to not use internet. So I couldn't use Couchsurfing, Helpix, or the similar websites that allows you to find accommodation or a host for free. So I emptied my wallet before leaving home, and I hit the road. And like this began one of the most incredible experiences I've ever lived in my life. When I came back home, everybody asked me the same question. How? How did you do that? How did you survive for 21 days with no money? I can't even survive for 1 day with no money. I have to eat, I have to sleep somewhere. How did you do that? Well, here is the secret. When you travel, you basically only have 3 things to pay. The first thing is transportation, going from point A to point B. The second thing is food. What are you going to eat and what are you going to drink? And the last thing is accommodation. Where are you going to sleep? And you can make these 3 things free. And here is how. For transportation, I hitchhiked the whole trip. I've been picked up by cars, trucks, vans. Well, that wasn't a van, actually. That was a hearse. You know, the kind of vehicle that transport dead people. So this van was transporting a dead from Leipzig to Dresden. And let's just say I had the privilege to be part of the wonderful journey. I even got a ride from a smart car, you know, the very tiniest car that was driving 150 kilometers an hour on the highway in Germany. I have to say that I didn't even know it was possible for such a small car to drive that fast. And to be honest, I was quite scared. For food, I was basically asking restaurants for leftovers. So I would just run into a restaurant and just say, hey, my name is Edouard, I'm 23, I'm a traveler from Belgium, and during this travel experiment, I try to travel with no money. So if you have any food that is not good anymore, that you plan to throw, that you won't use, that you can't sell anymore, and would you like to give it to me, I'll be more than happy. As expected, 2 or 3 times people just looked at me and said, no. But 1 or 3 times, when I came to the restaurant, they gave me bread. And I have to say that during 3 days, that's the only thing I ate. Bread and water. But as you can see, I was happy. But sometimes, and actually quite often, people would cook real meal for me or give me delicious dishes. This is how I had pizza, Thai kebab, chocolate cake with a cappuccino. gratin dauphinois, at a nice terrace in Dresden with a very nice view. I even got that chocolate cake and that macaron at the #1 cake shop, according to TripAdvisor, in Budapest. And that soup and that fruit juice in Vienna at the #1 restaurant, according to TripAdvisor again. And a quick thing about that restaurant. When I wanted to sit down, the waiter just pulled out my chair so that I could sit down. I mean, I have to say that nobody has ever done that to me in my life before. For accommodation now, as I told you, I committed to not use internet, so no couch surfing. That was part of the challenge. So I would just ask random strangers in the street, hey, can I sleep at your place tonight? All right. So as expected, 9 out of 10 times, people just, well, laughed and told me no. But I've learned something from that. I've learned to redefine my view about rejection. Now, we all face rejection in our daily lives. We go to that job interview, we don't get the job. We go talk to this pretty girl in a bar, we get rejected. The thing is, most of us, we experience rejection once a day, once a week, sometimes even once a month. So we are not so used to it, and that's why it hurts so much. But there are 2 things I'd like to share with you about rejection. And that comes from a guy who has experienced an average of 20 rejections a day during 21 days, between the rejections I had when I was asking for food, accommodation, or transportation. The first thing I've learned about rejection is that people are never rejecting you. People are rejecting the idea you represent. So never take it personally. For example, when you are hitchhiking, the vast majority of people who won't take you hitchhiking simply don't take you because that's in their identity. They don't take hitchhikers. That's who they are. So that's not you. Never take it personally. And the second thing about rejection is that rejection does not mean you will have nothing. Rejection doesn't mean the game is over. For example, when I was asking random people in the street, hey, can I sleep at your place tonight? When people told me no, I was never telling myself, all right, that means I'm going to have to sleep outside tonight in the street. No, I was telling myself, all right, that means I'm not going to sleep at his place tonight. That means I'm going to find someone else and live another experience. We shouldn't be afraid of rejection. It is just part of life. And to me, getting what you want in life is just a matter of being willing to experience enough rejection before having what you actually want. And in the end, I didn't sleep a single night outside. It did happen that at 4 a.m. I was still in the street looking for a host, but I always found somebody. And it taught me to put things into perspective. When I would finally find a place to stay, before falling asleep, when I was lying on the couch or on the bed, I would always remind myself, hey, I have food in my stomach, I have water in my bottle, I have a roof above my head and a mattress under my back. Everything is fine, I'm happy. Food, water, and shelter, these are things we take for granted in our daily lives. But if we think about it, we're actually so lucky and so blessed to have them every day. Now, what are the big lessons that I've learned during this trip? I already shared some of them with you, but I'd like now to share with you the 4 biggest lessons I've learned during this trip. And I believe these are lessons we can all apply in our daily lives, because in the end, life is a journey too. So the first thing is, this is not about what you get, this is about what you give. When I began this journey, I was wondering each time I was meeting someone new, what can I get from this person? Can I get a ride? Can I get some food? Can I get accommodation? And I ended up this journey asking myself completely different questions. Questions like, what can I give to this person? Can I give a smile? Can I give my enthusiasm? An inspiring story to share? An ear to listen to the problem? Sing a song for them? Dance with them? Anything. And switching these questions from what can I get to what can I give completely changed my journey. And I have to say that I've lived the best moments of my journey when I was in the giving mindset and not in the getting mindset. The second thing is, drop the fear to approach people, and the world can be an amazing place. Traveling with no money forces you to constantly meet new people because your survival depends on them. In our daily lives, we are sometimes even afraid to ask our way when we are lost. We prefer to just take our smartphones and ask Google. We are not so used anymore to go talk to a complete stranger and start a relationship out of nothing. But this journey taught me to drop my fear of the other. And I've learned that you don't need a good reason to start a conversation with someone you don't know. You don't need to be in the same sports club. You don't need to be in the same university. You don't need to be introduced by a common friend. Just dare to come in a bar and just say to a stranger, hey, I just met you. This is crazy. No, just say, hey, I just saw you. I thought you were amazing. My name is Edouard. I mean, don't say your name is Edouard unless your name is Edouard, of course. But dare to say it. For example, this guy and his friend, they were carrying a couch around Vienna. At each famous stops of Vienna, they had to stop and just lay down on the couch and enjoying life. So when I met them, I had to introduce myself, and I told them, hey, you guys are amazing. They looked at me and they told me, you want to come with us? And this is how I ended up spending the whole afternoon with two guys from Vienna carrying a couch around Vienna. The third thing is, sometimes not having the choice is the best option you can have. When you travel with money, you can basically pick anything. You can pick the Yos hostel where you stay at, the transportation you're going to take, the food you're going to eat. But when you decide to travel with no money, you just don't have that luxury anymore. So when someone gives you something, you have to accept it. And this is how I ended up spending 2 hours in the truck of a Ukrainian truck driver. So the guy, during 2 hours, kept telling me stories in Ukrainian. And every 10 minutes, I had to tell him with a broad smile on my face, you get that I don't understand a single word of what you are saying, don't you? But the funny thing is, that was one of the most incredible and funniest moments of my journey. Because you see, I'm not so sure that if I would have met this guy in a bar in my hometown, I would have spent 2 hours with him. But here, 1,000 kilometers away from home, with no money, I had no choice. And sometimes not having the choice is the best option you can have. And the fourth and last thing is there are no such things as bad experiences. To me, there are only experiences that lead you to better things. But we should never regret anything, because all the bad things that happen to us, all the bad experiences we live, make us grow and ultimately lead us to live the better things. I think it was the second night of my journey. I was in Leipzig, Eastern Germany, and at 8 p.m. I started asking random people in the street, hey, would you like to host me tonight? And after 4 hours, I experienced more than 20 rejections, and it was midnight, complete darkness. I still hadn't found someone to host me, and I began to question myself, like, why are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself in such conditions where you experience so much rejection and stuff? But then I met those 4 German girls. All right. And they told me, you can sleep at our place tonight. All right. I was happy. And then they looked at me and they told me, but first, we go to a nightclub. And you are coming with us. There, I was in heaven. And at some point of the night, one of the girls asked me, what's the worst thing about traveling the way you do? I thought about it, and I told her, well, nothing. Because you see, tonight I experienced more than 20 rejections. During 4 hours, I felt really bad. But all these little bad moments, little rejections, led me at the exact place, at the right time to meet you girls. And going to a nightclub with you is not something I'm going to forget for a very long time. And the same thing happened to me in Prague. After this time, 6 hours and 30 rejections, I met this couple from China, and they accepted to host me. And then we went doing a breakdance battle and dancing salsa, and that was awesome. And again, same questions. Everybody asked me the same question. What's the worst thing about traveling the way you do? And again, same answer. Or all these 6 hours of rejection led me at the exact place to meet them, so I don't regret anything. And that's basically the story of my journey, how all the bad moments led me to meet some of the most incredible people I've ever met and live moments I will remember as long as I live. As a closing, am I trying to sell you something? Am I suggesting that you should just leave your wallet and all your money at home and start traveling the way I did? Of course not. If it's not your thing, don't do it. But what I want to say is, dare a bit more. A little bit of courage can change your life. Ask yourself, what would I do if I were fearless? Dare to face rejection and approach complete strangers. Pursue your dream, go on an adventure. Because in the end, as Helen Keller once said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Thank you very much.